Hello, in this tutorial we are going to cover how to set up Nanite displacement on your landscape. So the material comes set up to work with Nanite displacement inside the material, but you also need to enable that on your landscape if you like to use Nanite displacement. You can see here I have my material applied to my landscape, but the textures are very flat, and I do have displacement textures plugged into my material, but I'm not really seeing any displacement. So to enable Nanite displacement on your landscape, the first thing you have to do is come over and choose your landscape and scroll down here to the area where it says Nanite. Then we're going to go ahead and choose Enable Nanite. And if you're doing this for the first time, you will need to go ahead and click this button, Build Data. It will go ahead and calculate the displacement for your landscape, and then you'll probably get something like this. Now, these are shadow artifacts that I have noticed come and appear quite often when using Nanite displacement. It's not specific to this material, it's just something that seems to happen quite often when using displacement. And the way we fix that is we just come up to our build dropdown and choose pre-compute static visibility. For some reason, clicking on that seems to help the shadow maps to update and therefore get rid of that artifact issue. And so you can see now we have a beautiful Nanite displacement on our rocks here. As you're changing things in your material, you'll find those artifacts appear again. And if you do see them pop up again, you can always come back and click again, pre-compute static visibility. Or if you're really not seeing changes reflected correctly, especially if you have just swapped out different height map textures in your material, it's a good idea if you're seeing weird results to just come back over here to the rebuild data and click on rebuild data, which will recalculate the height map and displacement information. I find I have to do this quite often as I'm working, especially, like I said, when I'm swapping out height map textures, or if I've made any significantly big height map and displacement changes in the material. And once I do that, again, I'll have to come over here and build pre-compute static visibility, which again fixes the issue. Now the height map controls are in our material here. In order for the displacement to also work, you will need to have a correct displacement map plugged in here in your height. So we have layer height here, and we have layer slope height here. So this is the slope material that is on areas that are of a higher slope. And so you will find the slope height map here is the displacement for the rocks. And so if I double click on that to open it, the compression settings are always something you can take a look at if your height maps are still not displaying correctly. I like to use either vector displacement or grayscale. Tends to give me the best results when using it in this context. It may come in as a displacement by default, which you can see has zero information in it for some reason. Some textures, when you download them or grab them from the marketplace, will have this set up by default, and we want to definitely either switch them to, like I said, grayscale or vector displacement so that you can actually see the information there and then go ahead and hit save on your texture. If we want to control the strength of our height maps and our displacement, and we have all of our textures input correctly and our landscapes enabled in Nanite, we can come over to our height control here. Now, the way I control displacement in this material is two main values. The one is the strength of the displacement, and the other is the height map midpoint. The midpoint will move the height map up in the range or lower in the range, which helps a lot with blending between different height map textures. For example, the rocks and the grass here. If I come over to my slope height, which is my rock here, and I change the midpoint, you can see they come in and out of the grass. So that can be really helpful, as well as the strength here. I have my height strength at a 1 here for the rocks, but I could go ahead and increase it or decrease it depending on what I'm looking for. It really depends on your height map texture that you're using. Some will come in really strong here, some will come in really weak. So I do find that I need to come over here quite often and adjust the height strength here in the height controls. All right, that's how to enable Nanite displacement. I will see you in the next one.